Hey, welcome to the Hell Has an Exit podcast. I'm your host, Brian Alzate. This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 833-999-1877 to speak to a specialist. This show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com. Hey, welcome to Hell Has an Exit. I'm your host, Brian Alzate. Today I have Crystal K on the show. Crystal, I've seen you in meetings. How long have you been clean now?
8 years in May.
8 years? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny is that probably when you moved down here, you were already clean a while, right?
Yeah.
So I just never knew how long you had.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle. I had like 5.5 when I came.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome to Broward.
Thanks. Oh, yeah. It's been great.
You like Broward?
I like everything except the dating scene in Broward.
Oh, my God. Come on.
It's trash.
And that's because you just got a relationship.
Got out of a relationship.
Were you in one?
I've been in a couple. Not really like long-term, just lessons along the way.
You think
know?
it's Broward?
I think it's Broward. Yeah.
Wow. It's the zip code.
It is a zip. It's funny though.
Not you. It's the zip code.
I can't even really blame Broward because like some of them weren't even from here, So it's me. I'm the problem.
You're the problem. We figured it out on the podcast. That was fast.
Right.
I don't know. I have a friend who moved to Colorado because I guess Colorado has like 70% more men than women.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had like a guy that she wanted to meet out there, but she was like, the dating pool is supposed to be so much better.
Better, yeah. Well, I date both, so the dating pool is a little more open for me.
So you're into girls too?
I was actually with a girl for 6 years before I came down here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The last one was a girl.
Yeah, so you got best of both worlds.
I do. I think it's time to just stick with the men, though, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like if a relationship doesn't last forever, it doesn't mean that it was worthless.
It's not your girl. It's just your turn.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what I mean? But you learn a lot and you have a lot of fun in a relationship. And just because like it will last forever doesn't mean it was like a waste of time.
Yeah, it was.
As long as it's not like toxic. And I mean, even then you learn a lot. So as long as it was like pretty normal.
Yeah, it wasn't toxic. It was actually my best friend this whole past year, And
your BFF?
Yeah, one thing, we had like dated a little bit like a couple years ago, and then one thing led to another. We were just with each other a lot, kind of getting over other people.
Gotcha.
And it happened organically. And then
the rebound.
I guess, and it was intense. It was very intense, but there was already chemistry there. But, sometimes chemistry and compatibility aren't necessarily the same thing. And so it kind of ended. It didn't end very well. She wasn't ready, and I have to respect that. So
how long did y'all date for?
Solid month.
Okay.
But we have been close for like a year and a half. So it was hard.
I bet that month was pretty fire though.
It was fire. I can't lie.
You gotta see the silver lining.
I know. It was a great experience, and I knew it was going to blow up in flames. And so I'm literally just like, let's enjoy it. Ride this out while you can.
My homegirl was telling me to watch the Pam and Tommy documentary. Whatever. I'm not like a Pam Anderson fan, but I was like, whatever, I'll watch it. And I didn't know they got married 4 days after knowing each other. Whatever, like they had a kid and they were together. And till today, like he ended up beating her and like went to jail and like they like split up. And even till today, she's like, it was still the best love. And like it was so like extreme and crazy. And she still like loved it,
I know.
And it's like, even though it didn't last forever, like the Pam and Tommy love, like whatever they had for a while, like
it's epic.
Was like, it's like really epic.
I know. I wouldn't change it.
It's crazy. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that some relationships last a super long time and they're not great. And I think some might have been like a year or 2 years or 1 month, and that month was amazing or that year was incredible. And then like it just, at least you didn't stay in an expired relationship.
Yes. Which is what I did for 6 years with the last one, And I can definitely say it was way more romantic and passionate than the 6 years that I was in. So like, I'll take it, whatever.
Welcome back to Broward County dating pool. Yeah. I'd recommend staying single for a while.
Yeah, I think that's what time it is. We gotta figure out why my picker is broken,
If it wasn't crazy toxic, I don't know if it's like broken. Maybe it just wasn't the right thing.
I guess.
I mean, at the same time, so many people end up like don't have long-lasting relationships that are successful in a lot of other things.
Well, the situation before her was a little similar. Like I keep getting in situations with people who are unavailable, technically, like emotionally unavailable, and then the situation before him was, the first guy that I had been with since being out of that 6-year relationship, and he died.
Oh, wow. Of overdose? Was he new, like in recovery?
No, 20 years in and out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was a friend of mine for 7 years. His name was Chris B. It was rough. A couple months after we stopped talking, he was in Daytona. That I think I still probably haven't completely healed from that. So I get into situations that I already know the outcome to, Yeah,
or like situations that, like for me, like I also like dating someone who's not like exactly looking for something long term because I'm so like not into commitment. Like I don't want anything. Like I feel trapped. Like we're talking about like on a boat. Like I don't like going on boats because I don't like to feel trapped. I don't want like something super serious with like a label. I have relationships that last 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, a year. When it ends, like it might not end always like amazing and whatever, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they end with like good communication and like, hey, look, you want something more. I want something like not so serious, whatever. It's not going to work out. And I still like amazing relationship. Great time. Had a blast. Love that girl. Yeah.
Till they show the crazy, right?
It's not always like that.
No? So you have girls that just walk away like, okay, we're done.
I've been in relationships with girls that were like, dude, he didn't lie to me. He told me up front he didn't want nothing serious. Everybody told me whatever. And she like chose to be like, whatever, I've dated other people. I want to date you. At the end of a year or 6 months or whatever, sometimes they'll just say like, I want something more.
Right.
A lot of people do want something long term. The last couple of girls that I've been with, like seriously, aren't like resentful or angry at me. Like we're still cool. We still talk, whatever. They're just like, that's just Brian,
Yeah, yeah. So then what is it?
But like sometimes it does end kind of toxic and crazy, but only probably 20%, 10% of the time.
Okay. It would probably end crazy. I'm crazy.
You're crazy? Yeah.
But I own my crazy, It depends on the kind of crazy you like. That's what they say.
Sometimes I even start the relationship with like, if we broke up, what would you act like?
At least you know.
I just need to know, like how crazy can you get?
Is it safe to come to my house?
Yeah, I never had no one like show up at my house or anything. I don't know. Like I was talking to someone the other day. Like they're a long-term relationship person, and when their relationships don't last long, they feel like a failure. And it's like I've been with some women until today. I'm like, man, that girl is incredible. Like that girl is so dope. Like I had so much fun with her. She was so cool. Yeah. Nothing bad to say about her.
Yeah.
She just knows what she wants. I know what I want. You know? And it didn't work out between us. And like, if she called me right now and needed something, I would, be there.
So have you ever had someone, I feel like I'm interviewing you now. Have you ever had a serious relationship where you didn't feel trapped and were okay with commitment?
Yeah, I did when I was younger. I just didn't have a lot of experience with relationships and I had no idea how to be in one.
Yeah.
I think I was 19. This girl's like 26. But I was like in love. And like,
did she break your heart? That's why.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No more commitment after that.
No more commitment. But I think that even prior to that I just feel like some people will never feel comfortable in an open relationship. Like the idea of an open relationship is just like to them, like gives them the heebie-jeebies. They're just like, no way. Like what? You got me fucked up, Yeah. And like for me, like it just feels natural to me.
Yeah. An open relationship?
Like an open relationship or like a relationship that's not like has walls and ceilings and shit. It's like
smothering. But does open relationship mean more than one person?
I mean, it could be open relationship is like the beginning of what it could be.
Okay.
It's like recovery. Like you have like being clean and then you have like all these different fellowships and whatever. You have kratom, you have like CBD or whatever. So like if it's open, it could mean multiple people. Like you both get to sleep with whoever or whatever. Or it could just mean that there's not like a strict label on it.
Right.
This is like what people are doing nowadays. And some people are a little more old school. And a lot of people I think judge like, oh, now everyone wants to be single and no one wants to have a family. And I don't think like it's good or bad. It's like, there was a lot of bad things with people who stayed in relationships in the 1950s where women got beat. And then if they left their husband, they were considered a battered woman and no one wanted to be with them. And it trapped women, didn't empower them. And then like the pendulum swings. And now you have like women empowerment and like.
They want a woman.
They want a woman or they just want to be like single or they don't want to feel trapped either.
Right.
Because at the same time, like men have used money and power to control women for centuries, you know? In a lot of scenarios, like there are women that make just as much as men or are police officers and are doing just these other jobs that back in the day were considered taboo.
Right.
And I think that even a lot of women are wanting to be in a relationship where the man doesn't have all the power. Not to say that like a man shouldn't be like a man and like pay for dinner. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're not talking about that. You know what I mean? Just so no one gets it fucked up.
Right. Apparently that's my pattern is I get into situations where I end up being the more dominant one. That's another thing about commitment too. I don't necessarily I would say I want commitment, but I don't want control. And so what does that look like in a committed relationship?
You don't want to be in control. You don't want them to control you.
I don't want to be controlled.
Yeah.
You know? But that's where the trust piece comes in, right? Like, let me be free, but love me along the way. And I'll stay committed. I'm not one to cheat. I'm not one to wonder. But also, like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I hate being with someone that's like trying to clock me. Like, like if I get text messages like, where are you? And they don't sound like curious. They sound like controlling.
Yes. Turn off.
I'm out of there. I don't know. I'm like a cat. Like, I'm like, if you try to pet me, I'll like go away. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't want to be controlled. I don't want like any type of whatever. And my dad's the same way. Like growing up, my dad was exactly like that.
Yeah.
My dad's born a day before me. Oh. So my dad's November 8th. I'm November 9th.
Nice.
So growing up, like I thought my dad was so off the chain. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, damn, me and him are so similar. Yeah. You cannot tell my dad anything.
No?
No.
I love
that's
that.
like one of my worst qualities. My dad would be, there was times we'd be like going to Disney World and he'd like make a wrong turn. He'll just not admit it. He'll just keep going.
On purpose.
He don't want to go. Yeah. He don't want to hear it. He went the right way.
Right.
The map's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
So where are you from?
I'm from the mountains in North Carolina. I was originally born in Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
Yep. I always say my story kind of started before I was born. My mom got pregnant with me with someone that was not ready to be a father. She was 21. I think he was 17. It was in Charlotte. They were, she was a little bit of a rebel, and he was for sure. So she ran away to Georgia and met this man who was Superman. He adopted me at a young age, and we moved to North Carolina, right outside of Cherokee. They bought 183 acres of mountain property.
Wow, that's
in
crazy.
the Nantahala Gorge. Yeah. So my dad, I was in like third grade at the time, and my dad made like a subdivision. He had home sites, rental cabins, all this stuff. Like I was homeschooled 4th and 5th grade year. Like I had no social skills because like I would talk to the trees. Like I grew up on the side of a mountain. It was beautiful. Looking back and remembering those days, and like my life was pretty normal, quote unquote, what you would call it. Then like middle school and high school kind of come into play, and in like 10th grade, things kind of just started going south with my parents, and my mom started showing signs of obviously being one of us, and there was a lot of drinking, a lot of prescription medication that came into play.
But your dad didn't use?
No.
Were you in touch at all with your biological dad?
I didn't meet him till I was 14.
Okay.
And he's an alcoholic as well. Never really a connection there. My parents split when I was 15. My mom kind of went off the deep end. My dad had built her a house closer to town at this point, and I decided to live with her because there was like no rules. She just kind of partied with all of us.
She was a cool mom.
Yeah, I guess as cool as you can be.
Yeah.
My 16th birthday, I kept trying to call my dad to remind him that it was my birthday. He didn't answer the phone. I'm 33 years old and he still hasn't.
Wow.
Yeah. I got daddy issues. And then my mom became physically abusive and decided that she was going to move me to Los Angeles, California to be famous. I played piano and sang growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
She was like trying to get you to be famous.
Yeah. Stage mom all the way. And so I'm like 16, 17 years old. move out to
It looked like a Hillary Duff.
Yeah. Oh.
Like he could be. Like he could be on one of those TV shows.
Right? You know, one of those upcoming.
Like the Lizzie McGuire. Yeah.
Yeah. So we moved into this apartment complex where like all these upcoming people were, you know, Sean Kingston lived there at the time when Beautiful Girls was coming out. This was in like 2007. I was exposed to like a celebrity lifestyle at a very young age. And my mom was just nowhere to be found. She would leave me with, you know, just these random producers and managers and stuff that would, you know, promise to make me famous. I had to learn how to protect myself at a young age, along with, you know, fighting her every other weekend when she was around to come check on her product.
Where was your dad?
He was still back in North Carolina.
Your stepdad?
Yeah, my dad that raised me. Yeah, he was in North Carolina, but at this time, like, she would try to make me call him, right? And ask for, you know, because he wouldn't speak to her. He wanted nothing to do with her. And she would try to get me to call him and, you know, ask for alimony or, you know, whatever the case may be. He would just be like, stop calling me and asking me for things. But he didn't know that
she was making you
She was making me. And if I didn't, I was grounded. You know, like I was a kid. I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was my dad was gone. And I remember the day that she told me that they were getting a divorce. I turned my emotions off. Right. And I feel like that's a lot of us can relate to that at some point in our life, is like learning how to disassociate and shut down. And I remember telling myself,
it's almost like the first time we use.
Yes.
Because like, I think about that too. It's like, I remember the first time, like I felt something like embarrassment, humiliation or something. And I remember like being able to just shut down. That was the first time I did it, you know?
I told myself I was never going to cry again. And so then being in LA, it was a lot. You know, I was partying with rock stars. I lived with the guitarist of Yellow Card for a little while. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ben Harper. I was 17 years old.
What?
Yeah. And so I remember there was one evening.
I just want to say it's so crazy because I had seen you in meetings forever for like years, and I just like never heard you speak.
Never. Yeah, I know. I don't think you have heard me speak yet.
Never heard you speak. I heard you like share a couple times.
Burning Desires.
Yeah, it's all good.
So there was one night my mom came over to the house that I was at and that she had left me at.
Wait, was the Yellow Card guys nice?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Those are we just ate taquitos all day and like played Guitar Hero. Okay. You know what I mean? Like we were just...
to make sure it was like... Because I listened to them, so I don't want to, you know, I'll stop listening to them.
They were great. They took good care of me, you know, thank God. So there was one night that my mom came over to check on her product, right? And
that's how you felt growing up.
That's basically what I was. No dad and a mom that seen me as like, her
ticket out.
Yeah. You know, I did modeling, I did singing and all this stuff. And so I was like this item of way to make money. And I didn't really know at the time, but it was soliciting. And I didn't really understand that till I got into step work. But she came over and I remember going through her purse, right? And I'd already been drinking at this point. Alcohol and me did not mix well, but I did it anyways. I always get violent when I drink. But I go into her purse and I see this bottle and it says, "Take for anxiety."
The bottle said that?
The bottle said that. This is like 2007.
Oh, I'm thinking like
the alcohol
bottle. No. I was like, what type of alcohol is that? That shit sounds lit.
I was already drinking that night and I go into her purse.
Okay, so it's a pill bottle.
Yes, pill bottle that says "Take for anxiety." Yep. And I take 2, of course. And I was like, this feels great. And so I like take a bunch of them. I like steal them, right? The next day I wake up and I'm like, well, that felt good. I remember people in high school busting these up and put them up their nose. Like, I'm going to try that. And so I figured out how to do it. And it was like the gates of heaven open. That's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And I remembered that moment when I had shut off and it was the same thing, but I could do it on my own. Whenever, you know, it wasn't as hard. That's what started my addiction. And it was off to the races from there.
This is in LA?
In LA. So I stayed there for a couple years and I got tired of it and decided to go back and graduate my 12th grade year with my class that I had went to school with in high school. Mind you, my 11th grade year was homeschooled and she just wrote in all the answers for me. I took Spanish 1 and didn't even know shit.
There you go.
You know?
I think you're not alone there.
Yeah, so 12th grade, I go back and I meet a boy. It was actually a revenge thing, if we're going to be honest and get real dirty about it. My boyfriend at the time when I was in LA slept with my best friend.
So you slept with his best friend?
So I slept with her boyfriend that she cheated on, and then I took her brother's virginity.
Wow.
Because that's how spiteful I am. Some shit I've had to work on throughout the years. So I ended up staying with the boyfriend.
Your best friend's boyfriend at the time?
Best friend's boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
Yep. And so me and this boy fall in love. and he liked to smoke a lot of weed. And being the good analytical con artist that I was like, well, let's sell it if you're going to smoke it. And so for 3 years, we sold it. We sold a lot of it. We got involved with some people who we had no business getting involved with from other countries and stuff. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. We did that, and I was a drug dealer for a while. And then...
And what's going on with you and your mom at this time?
Nothing.
Have you given up on fame?
Yeah, I gave up on that. I was just like, fuck this. My mom ran herself into a tree going 80 miles an hour when I was 19. And she's still handicapped from it and still drinking.
Jesus. Really?
There's no relationship there.
Oh my God.
I try, but I don't know. It's one of those.
She's like in a wheelchair?
No, she has metal all throughout her body. She can walk and stuff. She's pretty handicapped, in a lot of different areas. When they found her, her head was pinned in between the passenger seat door and the seat, like the seat and the door,
oh my God.
And she had brain death. She was in ICU, like unconscious for 3 months.
This when you were 14?
When I was 19.
19.
Yep. Right after I came back from LA. It was right after I graduated. And so I went and visited her in the hospital, and I kind of grieved her. So because the person that she was
never the same.
Never the same, And even before that, like, she wasn't the mom that I remember growing up. I actually had to be emancipated from her at 17 years old. I had to call social services on her, and I went and stayed with this boy I stayed with a friend, and then I stayed with this boy because she was just abusive. And then she gets into the car accident. So I've been on my own for a long time.
Okay, so you're selling weed.
Trapping. One of my biggest addictions, right, was fighting.
Oh, really?
I was a scrapper. Like, the guys that I ran with, a lot of the times, they would send me to go collect, because I was nasty, just brutal, and like, I was not a big girl. But I would end up in situations, with people bigger than me. And I don't know what it was. I think because I fought my mom for so long, I was just full of rage, and I was so hurt in so many areas. And I was just like waiting on my dad to come back and, save me. But no one ever came. And so I just wanted everyone else to feel the same kind of pain that I was. And so I fought all the time. I was arrested. I was in jail probably every other month for fighting. Yeah, it was not good. That was a great ninth step, And so then after 3 years of that, when I was 20 years old, I got pregnant with the same guy. You think you're going to get revenge on someone, and here I am raising the
baby.
The baby. Wow. 2 weeks before my daughter was born, the feds came. Feds, ATF, FBI, DEA, all of them came in my house. He wasn't there. We had gotten into an argument the night before.
Your boyfriend wasn't there?
But they were looking for him. They rounded up 5 people that same day that were all connected, and had him a court date set up that day and everything. Finally, I get him on the phone. They found him, obviously, and I get him on the phone, and he's like, I got to get comfortable. I'm not going anywhere. And so it was a conspiracy charge for a lot of marijuana throughout a time period. You know what I mean? And so here I am raising a baby all alone.
Thank God you didn't get wrapped up in it.
I know. I think that they kept me out of that because I was pregnant. Thank God. But there just wasn't a whole lot of evidence on my part. They tried. They tried to bring me into it. But he wouldn't let him. He took the rap for everything. One of us had to raise the kid. So he was in there for a little over 2 years. I had a C-section with my kid, and they put me on pain pills, and that was it.
That's how you got hooked on pain pills? It's crazy.
Yeah. And, here I am, no mom, no dad, nobody. The man of my, love of my life just gets taken away 2 weeks before our child is born. All I wanted to do was just sleep. And I had this little baby here that I didn't know what to do with it. It was rough. When she was probably close to 1, I finally decided to get some help. And I went to treatment. A couple times.
And you're abusing painkillers?
Yeah. And it had gotten pretty bad at that point. Thankfully, his mom was around to kind of help me with the baby. If I knew I was about to go on a bad run, I would make sure that she was not with me. Went to treatment twice in Georgia. I didn't get on the needle until after that.
What were those first 2 stints in treatment like?
I was in treatment the first time for 6 months. It was an all women's program.
Court ordered or voluntary?
Volunteer. It was you know how you get that first moment of oh God, maybe I need to take a look at this. Someone kind of tells you maybe you have a problem. And so I was like, okay, I'll go figure it out. I didn't have like a job, a car, nothing. I was just bouncing from like one person to another with this baby, lost completely. I went into this 6-month program and it was torture, but it kept me isolated enough to like figure out, okay, here I am. Maybe I have a problem. I have some trauma that I need to work through. They had us doing step work in there without a sponsor, right? And I did 1, 2, and 3, and I took a look at the 4th step, literally left that night and went and got drunk. I went, back out on a run and then went back to this same place, but it was for like 6 weeks, right? It was a little more like intensive, quick. I didn't have my kid that time. And then I started going to meetings in Georgia. And I was one of those people who got mixed up with the people in the rooms that were not clean, and I had got an apartment at this point, and my apartment was the flop house.
There you go. So I would imagine those people introduced you to shooting up.
And
how old are you at this time?
I was 23-ish.
Okay.
I was one of those people at the time. I was like, I'm in my early 20s. I'm going to drink alcohol, and
that's so funny.
Right? I was like, alcohol is not a drug. Mind you, I picked up a 90-day key tag wasted, right? And all the people in the meeting, they were like, you're drunk. And I'm like, this is NA. This is like a 12-step fellowship that's just about drugs. And they were like, no, that's not how this works. So just delusional, and not ready to give up something.
Welcome to the Genesis House powered by the United Recovery Project, located in sunny South Florida. We offer drug and alcohol addiction treatment, as well as a major focus on dual diagnosis. Our addiction therapy programs include behavioral therapy, 12-step facilitation, psychotherapy, life skills training, and more. At our facility, you can expect a low client-to-staff ratio, daily group therapy, weekly one-on-one therapy sessions, and luxury amenities such as volleyball, basketball, pool, chiropractor, personal trainer, yoga, massage therapy, and more. Contact the United Recovery Project today and let's create a better tomorrow.
Yeah, and I know that's like so hard for people. I don't know, like I struggled with it for sure, but like not much. Like I just was like, I mean, my life can't get worse. Like,
yeah.
So I don't know, like the not drinking part was just kind of like, I didn't like to drink anyways.
No?
I've only been drunk like 5 times in my life. Yeah.
Good.
It took too long.
Yeah, yeah.
Like alcohol just was never my thing. When I used to like look at kids in high school like drinking beer, I was just like, I like smoking crack and snorting Oxycontin.
I know. Take me out like, quickly.
I don't know. Like there was nothing about drinking at that age that like did it for me. So when it was like, you can't drink, I was like, well, I don't really like drinking anyways.
Yeah.
But there was that thought of like, I want to be normal though.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have a drink.
Right.
I want to get married and be able to have a drink. I want to like be able to toast on New Year's. And I remember being like, what are we going to do? Like toast with like fucking apple juice? Like, dude, I've gone to weddings and there we are toasting with apple juice.
Yeah,
New Year's toasting with apple juice.
Yeah.
And it's fire. Like,
it is.
Like it's cool. I went to this vacation trip to like the vineyards to go see like all this shit like in California. And in my mind, I'm like, bitch, I don't drink. Like, why the fuck would I want to go here? You know what I mean? Right. You think I want to go to a wine vineyard? And I was like making a joke, like, you have any grape juice? And dude, they had the best grape juice ever. I like went home and ordered like 4 bottles. It was so good. Other people drinking wine, but I was just like, let me get some more grape juice. It was like that good. Yeah, it was the best grape juice I've ever had.
Like the stuff they give you at church.
Yeah, it was fantastic. This was like high-end grape juice though.
Yes, the special stuff. Oh yeah, so I just didn't think the alcohol was a problem. Mind you, I have 2 DUIs.
Okay.
So I'm not an alcoholic.
It might be a problem.
Yeah. So, and I think looking back now and also with other experiences, alcohol is like a slow killer.
Oh, 1,000%.
You know, you could maintain on it for a long time. Unfortunately, if you shoot.
That's why people who go to treatment for alcohol are usually like in their mid-40s. You don't really see 20-year-olds in treatment.
Because it
takes a long time for it to get in the way of your life.
It's so socially acceptable, especially down here. Yeah. It's a party scene. It takes a long time before it actually really starts to destroy your body, or your life. You shoot heroin, you overdose. Obviously, you need to take a look at that. Yeah. You can't shoot heroin like a lady, right?
And it's just like so obvious.
Yeah.
Like, instantly. Yeah.
So obvious. So yeah, finally I was drunk one night and was hanging around all these people who were doing it, and I did it. And it didn't take me long to figure out that I had a problem that was pretty serious. I ran away again from Georgia I ended up in Greenville, South Carolina with my daughter's father's mom, the grandmother, right? It was a really bad run. I was up for like 7 days seeing demons. I don't know how I even ended up on what I was on, you know? And then I remember waking up. The grandmother had went and gotten my baby daddy. He was out of prison at this point, and it just didn't work, you know, to keep things super simple. There's too much trauma there. And I was just a mess. She went and picked him up and brought him into the house to like try to control me. And they walk in and the house is just destroyed. I literally flipped this whole house. Some random dude was there. They were like, where is your money? And I'm like, what are you talking about? My money? Like, why do you need my money? And they were like, your tax. I just got my tax money apparently. And I remember looking down, mind you, it's wintertime. There's snow outside and I'm burnt from head to toe, covered in like a sunburn. It seemed like. I don't know if I had an allergic reaction to whatever I was doing, but I was just like, my skin was almost blistered. It was the craziest thing ever. And at that point, I was like, I need help. I can't do this on my own. I remember trying to get into the bathtub just screaming because my skin was just completely fried. It was the craziest thing ever. Yeah. And so I remembered someone had told me about a place in Daytona Beach called Avenues 12. I left everything. I left my kid with my grandmother. I didn't own anything. I owned a suitcase and some clothes, you know, like we all do. And I went there.
It's a treatment center?
It's a halfway.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you hear about it?
A friend from Georgia told me about this place in Daytona. It's the craziest synchronicity. I don't know. Thank God he did though. So I go down there and I'm like, I'm done with men. I'm done with drugs. I'm done with everything. I'm just going to focus on myself. Right. And at this point, I'd never been with a woman. And in walks this lesbian in halfway who's like, you know, covered in tats, short hair, looking like Ruby Rose. And I'm like, well, it's not a guy, you know.
So that whole thing started with like a manipulation.
Yeah, manipulating myself, you know.
I said no men.
No men.
There you go.
I built a relationship in halfway with this woman. And, you know, obviously secrets keep us sick. And we both ended up going out. She went out and I followed because I'm a ride or die, you know.
Of course.
Yeah. So I remember that run was very quick. And this was the last time that I used. And I remember sitting on the side of this.
Now, were you plugged into like the 12-step program at this time? Like you bought in?
I did.
What was it that made you like believe in the program? Because so many people like go to meetings and they're like, oh, it's not for me. Or like, oh, I don't really believe in it. Or it seems like hocus pocus or culty.
I can't explain the feeling, but I remember walking in and just feeling like home. These people, I had been to meetings before. I didn't necessarily connect with the fellowship, but the language, right? The things that they were saying, how someone literally shared my story, you know, maybe not to a T, but someone in there experienced the same feelings that I did. And I was like, maybe I'm in the right place. And so I just ended up back there, you know? My last run, I'm sitting across the halfway house that I just got kicked out of at this hotel. I had nothing. You know, I had nothing. Now I'm gay, right? And which is a big no-no where I come from. No kid, no job, nothing. And I'm using again, you know, against my will. I didn't even want to be using, you know, but I was more addicted to love, I guess. And so I was sitting there waiting on the bus to come by because I was going to run out in front of it. I had made the decision that I was just going to kill myself and my daughter was better off without me. And the bus didn't come. And so I made a commitment to myself that I was going to go back and I was going to listen to every suggestion that everyone told me. And I did. And I have for a while. The girl ended up going to a different halfway and we shared the same clean date. We stayed together. I know, it's crazy.
For how long?
5.5 years.
Wow. With Ruby Rose.
Yeah, I know. It just doesn't happen.
Not recommended.
Not recommended. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's like the 0.01%. I just remember like having this level of surrender that I'd never had before. You know, a moment of clarity that like was spiritual for me. I'd had many, many bottoms, you know, where people would say, you just need to surrender. I'm like, I don't understand what that means. And someone explained it to me one day in a way that I understood. I had it finally to the point where I'm going to kill myself. You know, that's where it goes for me. And so I just hit the ground running.
And how has the last Well, what was like the first 5 years like?
So the first 5 years were, I was in this relationship. And so there was that foundation, like the emotional stability. They say don't get into a relationship your first year clean. However, looking back and seeing how single Crystal has been these past couple years, that shit kept me grounded. I don't think I would have stayed clean if it wasn't for that. That's just how.
So when you're single, you feel out of balance.
Crazy.
Wow.
I'm crazy. Yes. I've done a lot of work this past year on that though, especially this past month. I had no license. I had 2 DUIs. I had to start from the bottom, and then here I get my kid back, right? I was like, I'm not going to be one of those people that like think that you have all the odds against you and you can't do it, right? I was riding the Votran to drop my kid at school, go to college, and go to work. So when I put myself through college for after like year 1.
Oh yeah, you told me you're a biology major?
Marine biology now.
What got you to major in that?
So I was in the medical field for a while. At 3 years, I went and got my surgical tech certification. I worked in the hospital in the OR. And I remember people telling me, like, you got to find your
really
purpose. Cool. Yeah. I hated it. Surgeons are like...
They're mean?
They're so mean. They're some of the worst people I've ever met. Not all of them, obviously. But, like, I've had scalpels thrown at my hands. And I'm sitting there like... I've stabbed bitches in the face, 9 months pregnant. Like, don't throw stuff like that at me.
Wow. That should be the title of the podcast.
I know, right? Stabbing bitches 9 months pregnant. Yeah, I actually did do that. I sat in jail 9 months pregnant.
Really? For stabbing someone in the face?
I stabbed somebody in the face over $90.
There you go.
Yeah,
They lived to tell?
They did. I think they like burnt someone's house down a couple weeks after that. Okay. So I got out of it.
There you go. You're like, yeah, that bitch was crazy.
I know. Thankfully it wasn't. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I went in her house. Me and a couple people.
You are crazy.
I'm a little crazy. I'm telling you. But I own the crazy. Okay. I own the crazy.
There you go.
So I go to school to be a surgical tech. And I was like, this is not my purpose, right? And then I go to SeaWorld. And I'm like,
I love the dolphins.
This is not okay though.
All it makes you sad.
Yes, I'm like, I'm a Pisces, right? So I'm like, they're all looking at me like, help,
wow. Okay, so you go from stabbing people in the face to going to SeaWorld to trying to save the dolphins.
I want to save the whales.
There you go. You want to save the whales.
I know. I don't like people. Okay. I like animals.
There you go.
I'm not gonna stab them. I'll stab the people over the animals.
There you go.
So I was just like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be involved in like helping the ocean.
So you broke in and freed them?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
We're getting there. I'm still in the process. I changed my whole life again. I'm like, I've done it before. I'll do it again. Like whatever the odds. So I go back to school. I get my associate. I'm in this relationship still, right? I'm already kind of backing out of it. At this point, we were engaged. And there were a lot of red flags that I just realized weren't working for me anymore. I got accepted. I was coming down here and seeing my friend Chloe, and we were going diving and stuff like that. And I fell in love with it, and I got accepted into FIU in Miami. And so I'm in the process of saving money and getting everything set up. And I knew something was coming with her because she was not going to let me go easy. And I went to jail for 5.5 years. Sober or clean. Like she had me backed into a corner screaming at me, and I pushed her, and I was like,
and she called the cops?
She called the cops. And because I work an honest program,
you said, yeah, I pushed her.
I said, yeah, I pushed her,
Wow.
And they were like, well,
sometimes you gotta lie.
I know. Now I wish I would have. So I had to stay there 24 hours. I'm laying at Volusia County jail at 5.5 years clean. And I'm like, this is not... I'm clean. Like, how do you end up in jail clean? It's the craziest thing ever. I know that I've only heard of a few people having to go to jail clean, and like, it's a very weird experience.
Yeah, you're like doing the serenity prayer and all these things. And
right.
In jail.
My cellmate at the time, she was like losing it. She'd never, I think that God put me in there.
Oh, she had never been in jail?
Never.
So you were like, don't worry, I did this all the time.
Yeah. It was like, it was like another home for me. So I go in front of the judge the next day, and they're like, the person is in fear for their life. You can't go back to the house. I'm like, that's my kid's home. All of my belongings are there,
So let's talk about, hang on.
Okay.
You got your kid back?
Yeah.
When did your kid start living with you again?
At about a year clean.
Okay.
Yeah, like 9 months.
That's awesome. How'd that feel?
Good. Like a whole lot of responsibility. I had never not had her, but that was the first time that I'd had her clean. Thankfully, she was only like 4 or 5 years old. So she was resilient.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember me like that at all. So
Okay, so you come out of jail. You can't stay at this house.
so I go stay at all my friends, all male halfway. Me and my kid, got ate up by bed bugs. And I'm like,
They had bed bugs?
They had bed bugs. I was like, at the time, I think it was just my room.
Yeah.
Like the whole place didn't have bed.
They just put you in the bed bugs room?
Yeah. When it rains, it pours for me. Heavy.
Damn, 5 years clean, just got to jail. Now you got bed bugs.
Bed bugs. And I can't go home. All my shit's there. And then to top it off, I call the cops. I'm like, I got to go get all my stuff. I'll get a U-Haul. They're like, you have 15 minutes.
What?
To get all of your shit.
I
was like, bet. Right. No odds against me. So even if they are, I'm gonna figure out a way around it. I get a U-Haul and I get like 20 people. She was in a different fellowship, but everybody kind of knew what happened.
Yeah.
I packed all my shit in the U-Haul and just came right down to South Florida. I had a mother-in-law
So that's how you came here? Wow.
I had a mother-in-law suite set up because I knew something was coming. I knew something like that was coming. It wasn't going to end well. So I was prepared.
And then you moved to South Florida.
I moved to South
Things
Florida.
have been great. So hang on, how'd you fall in love with like diving and stuff?
During COVID in 2020, I was already in school to go be a marine biologist. And COVID hit and I was everybody's stuck in the house, and I'm like, I got to be outside. I need to be in the water. And so I downloaded Instagram and I started watching like all of these free divers and stuff like that. I'm like, what is that? So I go teach myself and I create, like this Instagram profile and I taught myself how to free dive and it saved me. It saved me so many times.
That's cool.
It's my safe space. I can dive comfortably about 50 feet with no tank, nothing.
Really?
Yes.
How long you hold your breath for?
Probably like a minute because I vape.
That's it, a minute? I thought you were going to say like 4 minutes.
I know. I'm so embarrassed about it.
Let's see right now who could do it longer.
Yeah.
I think I could beat you.
Probably. Yeah, but you bike, right? Yeah. And you run. Your cardio is ridiculous.
I guess. I think it's better than most guys. Most guys like can't run a mile.
I know. I tried that. I tried to start the running thing. I seen like
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna do it. And
you never got into it. You gotta read Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
I can't get into something unless I read a book.
Okay.
So like I heard about jiu-jitsu a couple times. And it wasn't until I read Hickson Gracie's book on like his life story.
Okay.
And then I read Worth Defending, which is another like one of the first black belts in America. And I read those two books and like I need to like learn about it to respect it. So like with like recovery, like I liked going to meetings, but when I started to like learn about the history about like what the program, that's when I was like, oh wow, like I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And then with running, I used to run like 3 miles, 4 miles, and I thought that was like amazing. And then like you read this book with, David Goggins, this dude runs 100-mile races. I just listened to this podcast. This dude, now he does 240-mile races. 240 miles, so
that's
nonstop.
insane.
So a 100-mile race usually takes like 24 hours. So it's 24 hours not sleeping, just running the whole time.
Running?
It's the craziest
Or are
thing.
they on crack?
I would hope so, that they're doing something, but I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane to think about because I think the most I've ever ran was like a marathon. It was like 26.2.
Yeah. 26.2 miles.
Yeah. I like walked like the last like 7-8 miles, like limped because like my hip and my leg was just cramping and my hip was hurting me so bad.
Oh no.
So I couldn't imagine what your body feels like after 100.
No.
So
no, you could definitely hold your breath longer than me, for sure.
We'll try it.
Yeah, I gotta get you in the water first.
I just put my head in the sink. I'll figure it out. No, but I think I'm good at it. Yeah, I don't like the water though.
I know. No, such a shame.
Hate the water.
As a Scorpio.
I like shooting guns.
Okay. We should have been born like in separate places.
In separate places?
Like you in the mountains.
Guns and you should have been born here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, guns and cars. That's really all I care about. Guns, cars, and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's good though.
But it's good that you get a hobby because I have so many sponsees that like, they're just like, they're clean and they're like working steps and they're going to meetings. They're just fucking miserable.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like they got some crazy ass girlfriend or some like, it's usually like you got some bullshit job that you hate and then you got like some fucking crazy girlfriend. And it's like, bro, like get a hobby.
No purpose.
Do something that's fucking fun, something you look forward to. Like in recovery, I think a lot of people make the mistake of trying to stop doing things. I have like sponsees that are trying to like stop gambling. And it's like, dude, that's great. But like, why don't you start something else?
Exactly.
So why don't you like start spending your time on something else? Because driving home, like, don't gamble is like fucking not going to last.
No, your mind still thinks gamble.
Yeah, you got to like do something else. And it's like, whether it's like running or like I do like I'm back on 75 hard. It's like a workout challenge or like something. So it's like, try to do something constructive, because I know I'll like end up doing something destructive naturally. You know?
My destruction is in the dating world.
Yeah.
It's been trash. Ugh.
That's your problem.
I know.
At least you don't gamble.
No, I know better. Like when I was a kid, I remember having like the little like handheld like poker thing.
Yeah.
You know, I could not put that shit down.
Really?
I was an addict like young, you know? So I know better. I know better than even go there.
I hate gambling so much. If I lose $20, I'll be pissed. And if I win 200, like I won't care. I just want to like bet it all again.
Yeah.
I don't have the patience to really play, so I just go all in when I get bored, and then I lose and I just get pissed off.
I gambled down here like once, and I hit $100 on Russian roulette, and I walked. I was like,
Russian roulette? You mean roulette?
Is that
Russian
See,
roulette
I
is
don't
where
gamble.
you kill yourself, blow your brains out with a revolver.
That too.
So what else is going on? So your goal, you're in school now?
Yeah. So when I came down here, obviously I didn't know anybody. My friend Chloe and Pat had told me about the 10.
Oh my God. So you're talking about Chloe and Pat? So wait, so they told you to come down here?
Yes.
I didn't know you knew them. I was thinking
I think we've had this conversation a long time ago.
I was thinking that you knew them because that's the only people I know from Daytona.
You grew up with Pat, right?
Yeah. Not really. We got clean around the same time.
Right.
The first time he got clean ever. But I love Pat. Pat is like forever. Like when you get clean with someone, it's like family, you know?
I know.
Like even though he hasn't stayed clean, he's doing good now. It's like, you know, you just have like, I have like that bond with him forever, you know?
Yeah. That's how me and Chloe has been. She's seen me relapse. Like everybody down here, they don't know me like that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been 8 years now, just like it's the most toxic, loving relationship in my life. We fight like hell.
Wow. Oh, really?
Yeah. That's my dive buddy.
Feisty. Oh, so she dies with you.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. How's she doing?
She's good. I was just at church with her this morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah. And the babies are good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because your kids got to be around their age.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The oldest kid, we just lost his dad a few years back. So
your oldest?
Chloe's
oldest. Wow.
So, because the oldest has another dad, and Nico, the youngest, is Pat's kid. So yeah, this disease is crazy, man. You know, but yeah. So Chloe and Pat told me about the 10, so I start going there.
That's how you started going there. Oh,
start going there, and then eventually Anthony P comes up, and he asks me to do the speaker jam.
Okay.
And so I kind of get plugged in,
so that's
right?
the first time you spoke and stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so he kind of took me under his wing.
Okay.
You know, and Mr. N.A.
That's your bestie?
It is my bestie, yep. Everyone doesn't think that it's like that, and that's literally all that it is. Yeah. And thank God for him. He's actually my kid's godfather.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, like we just have that bond. I get a side of him that nobody else does, you know?
Like what is it?
Like his soft side.
His soft side?
Yeah. I can't put him out there like that, though.
He sucks his thumb at night?
Yeah. He's good to us.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? And he keeps me in check. He's very knowledgeable about this program.
Yeah, I know. He loves the program.
I know. He does. He does. And he knows what he's talking about. You know, when they get into arguments in the not meetings, but the group conscience or whatever, they're like, Crystal, will you control him? Will you say something? I'm like, he's right. You know, I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, he really helped me get plugged in and involved.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm a bartender.
Really? Do you hate that? You like it?
I do hate it.
You hate it?
Yeah, you know.
How long have you been bartending for?
Like a year. And I lied. I lied my ass off getting into it.
You're like, I know everything about bartending.
Yeah, because I was like serving. I was doing, because it's hard to work and be a single parent with no help, right? And go to college, go to Miami twice a week. But I'm like, whatever the odds, once again, I needed to be able to make money, like South Florida money.
I know.
It's expensive down here. And so I was like, well, I'm serving money's okay. I was in the hospital a little bit, but bartending money is where it's at, you know? And so I basically go into this restaurant and I tell them, I know you got problems in here. My drink knowledge is not that great. I got a little experience, but you can teach me how to make a drink. You can't teach me character. And he was like, all right, you're hired.
That's
and
cool.
I just went in there and I didn't tell nobody that I didn't know anything, and I just hustled.
And you figured it out?
I figured it out. Now I'm actually really good at it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a sponsee who's got, I think he just celebrated 10 or 11 years, and he's been bartending for years. And people have always been telling him like, whatever, like some people think it's like not healthy or whatever, but Dude, he makes good money.
I know.
He's been doing it for years.
I know.
Now he works at a different restaurant that's mainly food, but he did bartend for years.
Yeah, it can be trying at times, especially if you work in places that...
I think like if you're like first getting clean, like first year, and your drug of choice is alcohol, probably not a good idea.
Probably not. No, I wouldn't recommend it at all. But I just kind of see it as like a currency. You know, like this is what I capitalize on. I'm not going to get high on my supply.
Yeah, there you go.
Know?
So what's your goal at school?
The 20-year goal?
20-year goal?
20-year goal is we're going to shut down SeaWorld.
Shut it down?
We're going to go in with the cranes and everything.
And just get them out of there?
Yeah. The guy that died that I was close with, we used to make plans. They were like, I'll get this, because he worked for this tree company. And he was like, we'll get the cranes and everything, you know? So, but ultimately, I want to be involved in conservation.
Okay.
You know, so like there's a lot of problems out there in the ocean that people don't talk about, or they don't necessarily want to see. You see like a dolphin get caught in a net or something like that, and they're like, oh, that's really sad. You know, let's change the channel. Or like the sad puppy commercials, you know? And you don't realize that the ocean it's the foundation of everything. If our ocean dies, basically, obviously the water will be there. But if everything in the ocean dies, so do we. We're gone. It holds all of the carbon. The reef itself is like the foundation of all life. You know what I mean? And it's dying. We get caught up in like the social aspects of life and like money and all that. And
like did you see Don't Look Up?
Yes. I mean, that's basically what
it is.
Have you seen Seaspiracy?
No, I've heard so many things about it.
Homework. You got to watch it.
But wait. So I know it's like the ocean and you got like the rainforest, like global warming.
The rainforest is a big deal, but
the ocean's the main part.
It's the main part. And there's so many different problems in it. It's not just one. It's not just global warming. You know, like one of the biggest problems in the ocean is commercial fishing.
Or overfishing.
Overfishing and nets. The damage that it's dredging. Do you know what dredging is?
It's when they like lay out the net and then sweep it, right?
They just drag the bottom, you know, just killing so much stuff along the way. The fishing game, believe it or not, is like a whole like underground industry. Like they rob people to put them on boats to work, and like it's like the drug game. You know what I mean? People get killed because there's so much money in it. They leave these nets out in the ocean, and it kills and like does so much damage to all these different creatures and organisms and stuff like that. But one of the main problems also is obviously the carbon. You know, people want to talk about how global warming is not a thing. Well, if you look at the statistics, right, and this is the stuff that I go to school for, the acidity in the ocean has raised throughout the years. So has the temperature. If that's not global warming, then what is?
I have no idea.
The ocean's literally warming up. And then when that happens, if you want me to get real nerdy for a second.
Hear it, yeah.
Okay. So then coral is an animal.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's something called zooxanthellae that are inside of it. Everybody pronounces it differently, but it's these little bitty organisms, and they live inside of the coral. It's like a symbiotic relationship, right? And so the coral and these animals, basically the coral catches things like as it moves and it eats, right? And as it eats, it composites and I'm butchering it, but when it poops, I guess, or whatever, it builds the skeleton of the coral. Trying to keep it in layman's terms as much as I can. So then what happens, and it also has algae attached to it, right? And that's what gives it its color. And so then whenever the ocean gets too acidic, or the temperature raises, or whatever the case may be, these zooxanthellae expel themselves from the coral, from the skeleton.
And they leave.
And they die.
Okay.
They die. The algae, all of it. All it's left behind is a skeleton, which is like a carbon composite. And so that's why it turns white.
You gotcha.
You know, it's called bleaching. A lot of the coral out here is just it's done. Completely done.
It's interesting when you like see the pictures where it's like what like it used to look like 30 years ago and what it looks like now.
In Australia, you know, the Great Barrier Reef, they just had a massive bleaching event, and they say that by my kids' generation, there's not going to be a reef.
So what's the solution? Kill the fishermen?
Stab him in the face. 9 months pregnant.
There you go.
I mean, obviously, I went down this rabbit hole trying to like figure out how to not consume as much, fish and poultry and stuff like that.
Shouldn't we just focus more on how we're going to get to Mars?
I mean, I guess.
Just messing with you.
I guess. we know more about...
Maybe we're going about this the wrong way. We're just, instead of trying to save Earth, we should just try to get
the people off of it.
Yeah, how are we going to get off of it? That's what a lot of people are doing.
I agree. I'll get real morbid with it. I say take the people out and let the ocean thrive.
So just kill everybody?
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
There you go.
Save the whales. I mean, I think the solution is trying to be, mindful. Don't throw litter out the window. You know what I mean? Like if you can use lesser resources, do that,
Okay, what about the straws? Is the straws bullshit?
The straws are bullshit.
It's bullshit. It's
0.0001% of the problem.
Gotcha.
What happened was a video went viral with the turtle with the straw.
Yeah,
and yes, it does help. But think about grocery bags. You know what I mean? Grocery bags, fishermen's nets is the main problem. The main problem.
Fisherman nets is the main problem.
The plastic in the ocean. But, obviously people litter on the beach. And you got to think about one little cup gets swallowed up in the belly of a whale. How many cups are they swallowing out there? One person can go a long way if you just clean up after yourself. Don't take trash on the beach. That's one solution. And they have coral restorations.
Okay.
Where they're trying to grow and then replant. So, but I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. You focus on that. I'll try to get Mars.
Go to Mars. Just get the people off the planet. I mean, because at the end of the day, Mother Nature will take over if we get past the tipping point.
What if that's what Mars was? What if we already ruined Mars and then we fled to Earth?
Probably.
And now we're trying to go back there after we already killed it.
Maybe we should go to a different planet.
What? Which one?
I don't know. The water planet, Uranus.
Uranus?
Right.
Is that a water planet?
No, Neptune.
Neptune's the water planet?
Uranus just sounded better.
I don't know why we can't just build something and throw it out there.
You think we can?
Yeah, why don't we just send a whole bunch of stuff every day and then we just put it together? They're building islands here.
Right.
Why don't we just send giant pieces of concrete or whatever? Fishermen. Yeah, send the fishermen's bones. Yeah, that's what we should do. Have you ever seen... bones will now become the new Earth.
Have you ever seen the 100? No? They basically live in a spaceship that they sent.
That's what I'm talking about. It's a hotel, like we'll live on a cruise ship.
Yes.
In space.
Yes. I think some people would like that.
It's like a cruise ship, yeah.
You'd be okay with it?
We're on a cruise ship that's like a ball right now. Right?
This is the Matrix, right?
I mean, I don't know if it's the Matrix, but hopefully we don't unplug after this.
I know.
Hey, well, thanks for coming on the show. Yes. I appreciate you. It was so nice finally getting to know you.
Yes.
And didn't know you were a superstar and a celebrity. And, you did great. And I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 833-999-1877 to speak to a specialist. The show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com.